Baja, California, as we get set for the Tecate Score Baja 500.
Car stop.
This has to be probably the toughest Baja 500 that I've ever done. The biggest thing you have to do is not make a mistake. So patience is key for this event.
We talk about silt. I like to call it the whiteout because you just can't see when the dust is all around you.
The course is tougher than last year. This is one of the toughest Baja 500s we're going to have. Every time I come back, it just brings out a new story, every single race, and the excitement for all the fans down here. Beautiful country that we get to drive on and race through. It's unbelievable.
Just when you think that you can relax, you can't. When you're traveling at 140 miles an hour, you can have any type of mechanical problem. And the rocks, if you take them too easy, you'll get beat. So you have to be aggressive, and you have to worry about everything in front of you on this course. So very demanding.
Welcome to Dirt Live, coming to you live from San Diego, California. Hey, tonight we got a great show. We have Tony Gira. Now, Tony is leading the Dakar Challenge for the motorcycles. He's an Ironman guy, and so far this year, he is the top guy on the list. So he's going to head out to Dakar if he wins this championship, and we'll talk to him tonight about his setting up for the travels to go to Dakar. And we'll have on the show tonight Larry Dixon, three-time NHRA drag champion. Larry will be on the show. We talked to him at the licensing show in Las Vegas a few weeks ago. Also at the same show, we ran into a couple of guys. 20 years in the history. These guys are the Crusty Demons guys. Everybody's seen the videos. Seth, that guy that set the world on fire when he jumped over 300 feet out at the sand dunes. We have a great interview with John Freeman, a great interview with Mark Levine, who's come on and kind of put some new blood into the Crusty Demons. We also have Video of the Week this week. And some great stuff coming to you tonight right here on Dirt Live. Before we do that, we want to remind you, don't forget, CBS show, July 20th. Check your listings. We're going to play that video a couple times tonight, the preview to that show, and show you a little bit about it. But don't forget, tune in on July 20th. Check your local listing. Also, sign-ups are open for the race in September, the Rigid Industries Desert Challenge out in Imperial Valley. Sign-ups are open. Get signed up. We're going to have a great race out there for 2 days, racing day and night. Also, we have some breaking news. We always get breaking news right here on Dirt Live. We just got the news in that B.J. Baldwin and Quinn Cody will be going to Dakar. That's great news. And what we want to do is let's play this little clip about B.J. and Quinn over in Dakar. Check it out.
Je sais, ça va. J'ai regardé derrière. C'est bon. Et vérifie ta voiture, pas la mienne. Va te faire foutre.
3 fois, mec. 3 fois.
Ouais, c'est bon, dégage.
L'arroseur arrosé, un grand classique. Car quand arrive à son tour Fred Chavigny, le Californien est dans ses petits souliers. Deuxième round.
Mr. Baldwin. I'm Mr. Baldwin. Yeah. What is this? Oh. What is this? It's ready red. It's not stock car here.
I know.
Okay?
I'm trying to apologize.
3 days ago and today. What is that? Black.
Okay. I'm trying to apologize. Okay?
You
that
go.
Was a total accident.
They should stand in bivouac and you pay.
Hey, I'm trying to
Or
apologize.
claim or you pay. I am sorry, it's not stocker here. It's normal people. You are not normal people. Okay. You go. Instead, Dixon is be work. And we speak with him.
I'm trying to be the
Bon, j'essaye d'être un bon Américain, de faire bonne impression sur ce rallye. Mais bon, aujourd'hui, c'est pas vraiment le cas. 37e du général, voilà B.J. Baldwin avec une solide réputation, celle du bad boy de ce Dakar.
Back here on Dirt Live, incredible clip. BJ having a little fun over there in Dakar, and Quinn Cody in the background kind of laughing, and BJ being himself, having a little fun in Dakar. All right, good luck to you, BJ, over there in Dakar this year. Let's go. A lot of people are asking us on Dirt Live, what do you guys do in the off time? Well, a lot of us kicking back, trying to relax a little, get ready for the next race. Let's see what everybody's up to. How about the president, CEO, Roger Norman? Let's see what he's up to. Check this out. Definitely an athlete, you can see right there on the video. Next guy up, Carlos Corral, the man that does it all, drives a semi, does everything at the races. Carlos, during his time off, let's check out what he's doing. Carlos kicking back. How about Dick Gray, the new director, race director? Let's see what he's up to. Of course, how about Jake Valesco, the tech director? Let's see what he's been up to for a few weeks here over the summer, kind of enjoying and relaxing a little, getting ready for the next race coming up in September. Let's check it out. Everybody says, where's Diana been? Well, she'll be back on the show on August 5th. Hey, I don't know where the heck that clip came from. I don't know who put that in. Somebody stuffed that in there. I'm sorry you had to see that picture of me. But definitely another one. Check this one out over at the beach, doing a little freestyle stuff. We're back here on Dirt Live having a little fun and showing you a little bit about what the people do at Score International. So let's go and check out Video of the Week, and we'll be right back here on Dirt Live.
Welcome to a beautiful day in Baja, California as we get set for the Tecate Score Baja 500.
Car stop.
This has to be probably the toughest Baja 500 that I've ever done. The biggest thing you have to do is not make a mistake. So patience is key for this event.
We talk about silt. I like to call it the whiteout because you just can't see when the dust is all around you.
The course is tougher than last year. This is one of the toughest Baja 500s we're going to have. Every time I come back, it just brings out a new story, every single race, and the excitement for all the fans down here. Beautiful country that we get to drive on and race through. It's unbelievable.
Just when you think that you can relax, you can't. When you're traveling at 140 miles an hour, you can have any type of mechanical problem. And the rocks, if you take them too easy, you'll get beat. So you have to be aggressive, and you have to worry about everything in front of you on this course. So very demanding.
Welcome back to Dirt Live. Great video of the week as usual. We have these coming in every week now. A lot of people out there. We're trying to showcase what you got. So get it to us over at Dirt Live. You can send it to George at dirtlive.com. You know, you can get it to scoreinternational.com, whatever. Get those videos over to us. We can play them right here. And we have so many people watching right now and like to see these new videos. It kind of showcases your talent and what you guys are doing. All right, we're going to go to a commercial. When we come back, we're going to have an interview with the guys from Crusty Demons, John Freeman and Mark Levine. We'll be right back here on Dirt Live.
What we have here is another brilliant Stand 21 product. The headsock with the helmet remover built into it. This will allow you to safely and fast remove the helmet without putting any pressure on the neck in case you have an injured driver. It's super simple. It goes into the helmet. You can just pull the two tabs right here, and the helmet comes right off. It's that simple. This is so easy. I will use it all the time, taking the helmet off. It takes the pressures off the ears and everything. That's great. Comes off, super easy. In this case, we're showing if a driver is injured in the field. In off-road racing, often there's nobody around. Here you can see how easy it is for the co-driver to remove the helmet. Doesn't require a pump or any other assistant. It's already on the headsock, and it's super easy. Neither Brian or myself are paid or sponsored by Stand 21. We're just racers who believe in safety.
Welcome to Dirt Live. We got an interesting guy on the show. Dirt Live's trying to find some other people out in the off-road world, and we just happened to run across these guys at the licensing show here in Las Vegas. And this is John Freeman. You are the guy behind Crusty Demons. I mean, so many people out there, even our camera guys, watched as they grew up as kids and watched some great videos you put out.
Well, thank you. We're actually in our 20th anniversary right now. We started in 1994, and that was out in the California desert. And it was kind of play riding with some of the world's best motocross racers back then, which was like Jeremy McGrath, Jeff Emick, Brian Manley was a huge influence on us. Couldn't believe how far these guys were launching their motorcycles. And they loved coming out and play riding with us on our snowboards. And I was kind of a snowboard filmmaker back then.
Oh, really?
Kind of got into back when I was riding as a kid out on a dirt farm at my grandfather's, and that kind of brought that all back, to life for me, getting back on a dirt bike. And my partner Dana Nicholson, he was getting all into the dirt, everything with buggies, with bikes, and all that kind of stuff. So eventually, out came Crusty Demons of Dirt, #1, and in '94, and we kind of been doing it ever since. Never really grew up.
The #1, was that the one with Seth? Was that kind of the launch? I mean,
Mr. Seth Inslow.
Yeah, so he kind of launched your careers?
Yeah. Seth is an interesting character, probably not one of the best riders out there, but man, he's got some guts, some big old balls.
Did you have any idea what he was going to do, flying off those dunes?
I don't think anybody did, especially him. He had watched some of the pros go off these sand dunes, and he figured, they're probably going off it in 5th gear. Well, no, these guys were hitting it like 3rd or 4th, and he's clicking 5th. I think he probably flew over 300 feet to a face plant.
Wow.
And survived and got up, and I mean, that was just ridiculous that a man could survive that.
And pretty much reality, kind of like way before the reality shows started,
Yeah.
And here you are filming, and the guy's barely catching his breath and probably knocked the wind out and everything's incredible footage.
Yeah, and then Dana put him back to work hammering nails the next day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Too much. So now that was one of them. Now the first video, something you really saw something here, you know, and really interesting stuff.
We, you know, at first when we came out with the first movie, Crusty Demons, we didn't really know how to sell it. We'd call up shops, and they'd say, well, we don't really understand what it is. Is it a wipeout video? Is it racing? And we said, no, it's, you know, like free riding back then. We have freestyle now. But so I had snowboard distribution. So I used my snowboard distributors that went into surf and skate and snowboard shops. And then I think the word started getting out at the moto shops with kids coming in and wanting to see this movie. What is this thing? And so it kind of exploded from then, and then we started getting some sponsors, like Fox was a big one. And boy, that catapulted us with a little bit of production money behind us. We were able to start traveling the world and not just play ride in our backyard in California.
Now, did you, when you go to these, go out to the dunes and you hang out and you guys are jumping freestyle, do you come up with ideas like, hey, let's try this? You know, because you got some funny stuff along with the serious jumps, but who thinks up all that? You guys just kind of come up with some crazy stuff to do?
That's me and Dana. We're always, you know, what about this? What about that? And then as far as, you know, the ability of the guys, we had some of the most amazing talent with us, you know, hanging out with Jeremy McGrath and Jeff Emick. Those guys were winning championships. So it was always like those dudes were not just competing on the motocross track, they were now trying to one-up themselves out in front of our cameras. So it was interesting to hear, there was an interview with Emick, and he said it actually made us better riders, better racers, you know, one-upping each other out in these dunes and other places that we'd go out in the desert. Yeah, they'd kind of hone their skills and then take it on the track.
Now this
win
was
championships.
Before even freestyle was out, you know, kind of this is where
the word
developed,
freestyle
kind of,
wasn't even around.
Yeah.
No, that kind of came along with the development of watching guys like Mike Metzger taking his, you know, feet off and doing like a Superman, or taking off, you know, a hand off or something like that. We were like, whoa, what was that? That was cool. Can you try that again? And, you know, and they kept, you know, trying to perfect that. Yeah, some of the early guys like, it's probably Metzger and Kerry Hart, Brian Deegan. Some of those guys were really, you know, up in the game with some of these freestyle tricks.
Right.
And didn't know that that could actually be a sport, you know, a professional sport.
Now, will you kind of just run the cameras like, I mean, watching some of the old stuff, like when you're at a campfire going off and guys are riding through campfires, and these are just kind of reality, just film these guys
Not
having
just riding
fun.
through campfires, but, you know, a lot of gasoline involved.
Right.
Yeah.
You
Make
guys
them big.
Use a lot of, you did a lot of fires, right? Back
We love pyro.
blowing up stuff.
We love blowing up stuff. We love putting it in our shows. You know, we do Crusty live shows all over the world. Yeah. We've been doing that since about '99, so many, many years of putting these choreographed shows together, add pyro, beautiful women, all this. You get like 15,000 people drinking beer and just going, yeah.
You're having a great time.
Oh yeah, it's kind of like making our movie live for people.
What's your craziest stunt that you had in the early years? You know, like, we know you got some good ones coming up. We'll talk about that a little while later. We're going to bring Mark on, and we'll talk about the new era and some of the stuff, which is pretty cool.
I think some of the craziest stuff in the early days was pushing the limits on how far a dirt bike could jump. And we've seen the progression of Seth. He was one of the guys to kind of follow in the footsteps of, okay, Evel Knievel was pushing it back in the day. Well, I want a piece of that, you know, and then started pushing his motorcycle to those limits where he would snap like bikes in half. And some of our craziest moments are probably, you know, accidents involving Seth, going way too far. His motto was never come up short.
Boy,
so he always overjumped.
He always overjumped. He was pretty. I know the one that we watched earlier that I remember very well when he jumped over that house and landed way beyond the landing ramp.
That was at Mike Sinkmar's house. Wow. Another legend in the sport. Unfortunately, we don't have him with us anymore. But Mike was another guy pushing the limits back then, jumping over his parents' 2-story house.
Wow.
And then Seth used his ramp and setup to hopefully, you know, be the biggest jump man's ever gone. Ends up with a tailwind, thinking that's a good thing. And over jumps and ends up with a face-off surgery.
Wow. Yeah, it's crazy. Some of the took his face off just to repair it. It's kind of crazy.
Well, he collapsed this area here in his skull, and they had to go in and pull his face down, and then put titanium plates here, and then put the face back on. Crazy stuff.
You see BJ's truck and you know, RJ Anderson over here. I know you guys talked to him, and he's done some crazy stuff. I mean, I think he's got probably one of the highest jumps in a Polaris. It's incredible what these guys do. But you ever think about maybe trophy truck and doing something with that?
Well, I'll tell you, my partner Dana Nicholson, it's been a passion of his for many, many years, and I think it took him about 3 years to build, but now we've got a trophy truck for Crusty Demons, and so watch for Dana out there. He's got to kind of rise up to the level of like BJ and stuff like that, get some seat time, but he was a great co-driver back in the day, and now behind the wheel. So watch for the Crusty Demons truck out there.
We're gonna see it this year, maybe 1,000, or next year?
I'm not sure. Yeah, we'll be announcing that on you know, our Crusty.com and Crusty Facebook. Kind of watch for those announcements. Yeah.
So throughout the years, how many? Now you started with Crusty Demons 1, and how far have we progressed over 20 years?
We're actually making Crusty Demons 18 right now.
Wow.
But all in all, with TV shows and all kinds of different things, we're probably over 30 hours of films that we've produced, films and TV.
Yeah, because I forgot, you brought up a good point about the shows I know you were putting on. That was another part of it. So maybe getting into clothing lines, all kinds of stuff, you know, different things.
Yeah, we're very creative people, so putting that into like clothing or toys, or you know, it's pretty cool to see your own line out there, and you know, see people wearing it and go, yep, we made that from a drawing, and you know, and there it is. And try and get into, you know, cool graphics and different things.
It's got to be pretty cool, you know, you and Dana and everybody growing up around these guys, you know, when they were young, you know, Kerry Hart and, you know, Mike, we saw Mike Metzger, and I've run across him every year at like Elsinore, his kids racing down there, and just a neat guy. And, you know, some of these guys banged up pretty bad, but they still get around. And, you know, Brian Deegan, just a great young man that's done everything, and he's pretty good at whatever he does. So.
He's a good example of what some of the guys are doing after a freestyle career. They jump in the four-wheel, you know, short course trucks, or some of them are into the Baja, and you know, they love playing in the dirt and going fast. Probably too fast for their own good, but you know, they're pros. They're good at what they do.
You know, like you could name like Travis. You know, these guys learned how to market themselves. You know, Travis, and you know, like Kerry, you know, with what he does, and it's pretty cool to watch. And is it kind of fun for you because you were there at the beginning, and you know, 20 years later, you're watching these guys make some good money at what they're doing?
Definitely. I think what Crusty Demons as a film was kind of a catalyst to kind of a new era of what motorcycles are able to do these days, and this whole sport of freestyle coming out of it. So a film is an interesting thing that can get around into different homes, and people get to enjoy it on the, you know, the luxury of having a beer and sitting on the couch and kind of live vicariously through these athletes and, you know, trials and tribulations.
Well, you know, you talk the early days, you know, the DVDs were, you know, back with the big one, tapes, and now the into the CDs and all that. And the sales were great, I'm sure, back then, you know, but now you're leaning more towards maybe live shows, or, you know, like on TV. That's the big deal. Right?
Yeah. In the early days, I mean, a VHS tape. This is before internet. So to get your hands on a VHS tape was like your only source of getting, you know, this kind of media and seeing what these guys could do. And then that went to DVD, and so there was a whole explosion of, you know, VHS, DVD. That was the only way to get them. and we didn't really have TV shows yet. So I think that was just quite a thing, having a VHS tape as the vehicle for everybody knowing about this, new sport that was growing up in California desert.
I know everywhere you went, I mean, every motorcycle shop, everywhere, even the off-road racing for the last 9 years, 10 years, you can find your tapes there. I mean, wherever you go, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah. So these days, DVD is a different thing. You see stores closing, and it's hard to sell DVDs these days because people can download it or iTunes. So we're involved in all those platforms now, and then television is pretty important to us. So we're doing a lot of different things for programming on television right now.
Well, we're going to go to commercial, and when we come back, we're going to bring on Mark, who's going to add some new life and build up your company pretty big. He's got some great ideas. We're going to talk about the great
Welcome to a beautiful day in Baja, California as we get set for the Tecate Score Baja 500.
Car set.
This has to be probably the toughest Baja 500 that I've ever done. The biggest thing you have to do is not make a mistake. So patience is key for this event.
We talk about silt. I like to call it the whiteout because you just can't see when the dust is all around you.
The course is tougher than last year. This is one of the toughest Baja 500s we're going to have. Every time I come back, it just brings out a new story, every single race, and the excitement for all the fans down here. Beautiful country that we get to drive on and race through. It's unbelievable.
Just when you think that you can relax, you can't. When you're traveling at 140 miles an hour, you can't have any type of mechanical problem. And the rocks, if you take them too easy, you'll get beat. So you have to be aggressive, and you have to worry about everything in front of you on this course. So very demanding. You'll get beat, so you have to be aggressive, and you have to worry about everything in front of you on this course, so very demanding.
welcome back to Dirt Live. Now we bring on another guy, Mark Levine. Mark, welcome to the show, buddy.
Glad to be here.
You know, I think we ran into you guys here at the show, a great show, licensing show. I mean, Score's learning a little bit more about it, trying to bring light to it. You know, it's kind of neat. You know, you guys also use it for what you guys do in your business.
We do, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big part of our business is finding ways to leverage our assets and create a little bit more brand awareness. Licensing show's been really good to help us with that.
You know, John being around 20 years and then finds you, and looks like you're kind of bringing new life to Crusty Demons and some new ideas, and I think you got some great stuff, and you guys are on the road to, you know, like say, national coverage and TV, and it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty excited. As John mentioned earlier, I was listening to the earlier interview. It's our 20th anniversary, and we've been fortunate to surround ourselves with some pretty good people that are allowing us to bring some really good ideas to the forefront of media.
You know, Mark, early years, as you know, were you kind of a fan of Crusty Demons before you got involved, or?
Yeah, I thought they were pretty crazy. And
did you even know who we were?
I did. Well, I remember the first time I saw freestyle motocross was actually on the X Games, and I thought it was ridiculous that people would take risks like that, and then I realized that I just didn't turn the channel. I couldn't leave. I couldn't take my eyes off of it, and it was magnetizing, so it made an impression on me.
Now you've been around for what, 3 years now, kind of with John and them?
A little bit more. You could say it's a post-midlife crisis.
Yeah. So react and get going again, kind of, you know, makes you feel like you're 20 again. You know, it's kind of cool.
20 would be nice. Yeah, I feel I'm almost 55, but I don't feel a day over 53. But this is.
We've stuck Mark on a few cliffs, and you know, say watch your footing there.
Just hang on here.
Yeah. Well, we throw motorcycles off cliffs and things.
Pretty interesting job.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Yeah, there's quite a few things that were thrown at me that I didn't realize were in my job description. Yeah.
But you know, you start out with, like John was talking with Seth. You know, he kind of was. You know, everybody remembers that. I mean, you had to see that. I mean, it's the most incredible footage in the world. But even our guys working behind the cameras, like Crusty Demons is a household word, I think, anywhere in the world. You know, and you see anything new, I mean, coming your way, some crazy stuff? I mean, there's all kinds of crazy people out there. Is there a point where a guy comes to you and goes, hey, I want to jump off the Empire State Building with a bike and, you know, whatever? You guys kind of go, oh, I don't think so. You know?
Well, I field a lot of those calls, and a lot of those emails come to me. I'm the first one to see them, and there are quite a few of them that I don't even think twice about. And I can't even tell you why I pay attention to some of them, but we've been pretty lucky that our instincts work right, because we have some new guys showing up with some ideas that we thought were preposterous, but they are Crusty Demons because they're the guys that are going to get it done. I think the tagline that was interesting to me from Crusty is that we're known for making the impossible possible.
And not only new guys, you know, we're probably on the third generation now of new kids that are coming up, and it's funny because nowadays a backflip. Well, these new kids, that's what they grew up with.
Right.
They saw it on a movie, they see it in the X Games. They go, okay, so you have to do that to even compete these days.
Hey, don't even
and back
call
in
us.
the day, it was like, oh my God, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of the new generation coming up are amazing, but also some of our other guys that we've had around for a while, like Robbie Madison. We're looking at doing like a TV network special with Robbie pushing, you know, the new distances. How far can man go? So we've got the new and some of the legends that we're constantly evolving and looking for what, you know, we can do to make these guys heroes.
Yeah. One of the most rewarding things that I've seen happen is that when we get a new guy and we're able to introduce him to somebody like a Robbie Madison, somebody that he's looked up to his whole life and wants to walk in his shoes, and I mean, it's just amazing. They never thought that they'd be there and actually have somebody like a Robbie Madison listen to him and maybe sometimes say, you know, that's a really good idea you got. I hope you're successful in doing it.
You got Robbie Madison. I mean, to me, he's the baddest guy there. I mean, the things that he does and what he's done, and the Red Bull deal where he jumped off the hotel here, and that was incredible.
Yeah. Robbie, being somewhat new to it, you know, I've had to quickly learn up on who is, you know, who's at the top of their game. And for me, Robbie he's the ultimate, especially for the live TV experience that we're bringing to the networks coming up really soon. To me, there couldn't be anybody else but Robbie to be the guy that was going to try and do the stunts that can not at this point be revealed what they are, but just wait. When you see it, you're going to be blown away.
Now, can we talk?
The work ethic that you see a guy like Robbie Madison do, you know that he's going to put his mind to this thing and get it done.
Now, I saw him in Vegas. We met up with him, you know, and a bunch of us were over there. Very, I mean, just talking to him, he's very to the point. I mean, this is it. You know, I'm doing this, this, and there's no
very
question.
Calculated,
I mean, I'm like, wow.
Very rehearsed, very, you know, he takes it seriously. He doesn't want to get hurt.
No.
He doesn't want to be like, you know, like Seth back in the day and just charge. Uncalculated.
Wow.
And they happen to be good friends and have mutual respect for each other, but they couldn't be more different in some of the ways they approach things. Robbie's very interesting. Getting to learn the way his mind works has actually taught me not just about freestyle motocross, but things about life that are really helpful.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Now, is there anybody else in the works? I know you and I, behind the scenes, talked a little bit about a jump off a ramp that goes up. Can we talk about that at all?
You told him about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, that's cool. I gotta say that you guys come up with some good stuff.
First man to have the idea, well, not probably the first guy to have the idea, but the first guy to actually go off a ramp, go high enough to pull a parachute and live and come back to, you know, same level ground.
Now, you ever got a video of the guy that tried it but didn't make it? I mean, that would be, well.
Don't know if anybody's ever tried that.
Well,
not sure.
I've seen some footage of somebody that did try an ill-conceived plan on it. He survived, but he said he would never try it again. Now, I guess it's okay since the cat's out of the bag to let you know the guy that we're talking about, his name's Brad O'Neill. And he's one of those people that wanted always to meet Robbie Madison, and that did work out for him. But he called me up out of the blue and said he had this crazy stunt, and I almost didn't say anything to John about it because I just thought it was too ridiculous. But somehow we ended up on a road trip to Moab, Utah, and part of me was hoping this kid wasn't really going to try and go off this ramp into this canyon, ditch his motorcycle and unleash a base shoot, because I didn't know that he had the skill sets to do it yet. And then I realized he was really going to go for it. And that was the day that was the first time they put a camera in my hand. And I think the camera was shaking a lot.
Now, would it be, would it look better like some of the footage I saw? He jumps off a ramp and straight up in the air 150 feet and lands on a flat ground. Or like Mark said, you get to the edge of a cliff in Moab and jump off into a canyon that's maybe 300 feet.
That was
that's different, a little kind of different.
That was a practice to see how
it worked.
How far he could go out and up, and then how long it would take the chute to open. So we took a rock and went 1, 2, 3. That's how high we were. Not very high. And you know, he used his forward momentum and didn't apex so that he's slowing down, and pulled the chute, and he obviously went below the cliff, so that wouldn't have worked. So then he had the idea that I need to build this ramp from hell and shoot myself up there at least 130, 150 feet. Robbie went, I think, about 100 feet when he stepped up onto the Arc de Triomphe in Las Vegas. So he had to even go further than that to deploy a chute. So
that's pretty cool. I can't wait to see that, because like I say, we're talking 150 feet straight up, kind of at an angle, because you got to have a little air for the parachute to pull, you know, and then boom, and then he goes to the ground, you know.
And what kind of passion gets into you to want to do this kind of thing? That's what you got to kind of talk to him and go, what is inside you. I don't know. That was he always wanted to do that. So
Wow, crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And you hope the bike don't. Well, I'm sure the bike's faster.
splat.
Right. But,
Yeah, when you pull the chute, it slows you down and the bike falls away from you. But you have to murder a bike every time you do this stunt.
He was thinking of a shoot on the bike, but I don't think then you might get involved with tangling.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Like I said, the ideas. Anything else? You're constantly, like Mark said, you're getting emails, and you know, there's so many shows out now with, you know, Rob Dyrdork and all these guys.
Yeah.
Do you ever see? I mean, probably nothing that you watch through that. Maybe, hey, let's give that guy a call. Does those give you any ideas? Some of these crazy guys that he
We're
shows?
always coming up with the next craziest thing to put into a live show, or to put in a TV show, or, you know, so it always involves, you know, height, distance, pyro, some sort of, you know, flipping other things. So there's all kinds of that.
Did you meet up with last night? Did you talk to that Alex Smith guy from Big Smo?
Oh yeah.
Yes, we did.
Is
We're
that
gonna check out
crazy?
his TV
No,
show.
I mean, I watched it I T-bowed it and watched it this morning.
Okay.
So it's pretty not bad. I mean, it's different. And he was on there, and he talked about he's trying to get 2 new Olympic deals from, you know, Nashville, couch racing and some other deal. They're trying to get put in the Olympics or something. But maybe get him on. You know, I don't know.
Sounds like our kind of
Crusty
guy.
Demon kind of stuff. You know,
Yeah, he likes to play in the dirt.
Does it just strictly motorcycles you guys work with, or any other vehicles?
No,
maybe.
we not only motorcycles, but my partner now has a trophy truck,
yeah.
Dana, and we have a monster truck down in Australia. So me and Dana got to drive it recently. Cool. Went down to Perth, Australia, and drove it. So we're getting into all kinds of different things. Anything that's you know, dirt related is, and also we come from surf, skate, and snow backgrounds.
Love that.
So
that's where
all
I come
this
from.
stuff that we love
neat.
to do.
I like that. You still surf, Mark?
When I'm sitting next to John, I can't call myself a surfer. I can lay on my belly on a board and ride a wave.
Right?
That's my favorite sport in the whole world.
He's a good
That's
surfer.
me and you, man. That's all I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to do that. I think it's people don't realize. They'll say, "Why do you surf?" You know, living in Vegas, but I spend most of my time down there. It's good. It's good exercise. I'd rather surf for 2 hours than go in the gym for 40 minutes.
Keeps you in good condition. I grew up in Malibu Beach.
Yeah, perfect place.
Yeah, great place to grow up. Yeah,
that's when I was a kid. That's where we surfed right there. Go surfing spend the night.
Yeah.
Go surfing, go to school, and you know, after surfing, that was cool.
Yeah.
Good. Neat growing up.
We're not supposed to ride motorcycles in Malibu, but we have our secret spots.
Really?
We take up into the hills there.
Wow.
There's not too many homes in between, like the San Fernando Valley and
Yeah.
Malibu, so you can imagine you can escape up there on motorcycles.
Exactly.
If you know where to go.
I lived at that edge, right where Mulholland turns right there, and you can make the cutoff to come over to Malibu. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool growing up there.
Yeah.
So you know, it's kind of cool. Like I say, we were trying to find other things other than just off-road racing, and knowing that you guys are going to maybe race score and be in the trophy trucks. And we want to thank you guys for joining us on Dirt Live. It's pretty cool. John,
thanks for having
joining us. Something different
George,
for these
thanks very
guys to
much.
watch out there. Well, you heard it right here. Crusty Demons guys are coming out with some new stuff. We're actually going to probably showcase the trailer. Maybe another month or so we can do it.
Well, we have a new movie coming out, and it's exciting because it's a life project. It's, you know, we've been doing this for 20 years, and now we're going to tell the story of, you know, how did all this happen. So we went back to the original guys and did a lot of interviews. Of course, we have all the footage. We've documented it, you know, this sport for 20 years. So it's kind of the history of freestyle motocross, you know, working title right now.
I can't wait.
People are going to hear a lot about it. Monster Energy is behind us, so they'll probably be putting a lot out there. But hopefully it's going to hit the theaters this fall.
Yeah, we saw the trailer, and we'll show that maybe somewhere down the road. But incredible footage, and really goes back a lot with incredible people that surrounded you guys.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So,
And we're pleased to meet up with the Score family.
Yeah.
The Normans, are great people.
Roger, I'm telling you, is a big fan of you guys for growing up watching all the stuff. It's pretty cool.
And we're a fan of Score. We love to see these things going fast.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, get you come down to 1,000, hang out with us. I think that'd be pretty cool.
We're going to be there. Yeah, we'll be there.
All right, we're going to go to commercial. Be right back on Dirt Live.
Hi, I'm Martin Christensen with All German Motorsports. Been racing Score off-road for a number of years, and I've been using the HANDS device for a very, very long time. I absolutely believe in it because I know it saves lives. Not only am I a racer and want to win races, that's obvious, but come Monday morning, I'm a businessman and a father for my family. I want to be there on Monday morning. For me, this is the best solution. It's super simple to put on. It goes right on. Very fast as well to connect to the helmet. Has a super nice slide mount that just clicks right in. You don't even know that it's there when it's fitted properly. Another reason why it's very comfortable is once you're seated in the car, the sliding tethers in the back allows you full movement on your head with no restrictions. Another thing that I like is that it's super easy to get in and out of the car. Just cut the belts like normal, get out, and boom, you're out of the car. Just like that, voila, an absolute lifesaver. A great example is Prim Score 300. I was standing right in the grandstands, and a fellow racer in class 1 at the time came right over, a little infield jump, looped the car. I was only 15, 20 feet away, ran to the car, and the driver was dead. If there's any way anybody out there can prevent anything like that from happening by wearing a simple device like this, I'd say it must be done. Neither Brian or myself are paid or sponsored by Stand 21. We're just racers who believe in safety.
Welcome back to Dirt Live. We're here now with Tony Gira. Tony, welcome to the show, buddy.
Thank you very much for having me.
Coming all the way down from Santa Cruz, California.
Yeah, it was quite a long drive.
Well, you're the guy right now that everybody's got to beat to win that race to go over to the car. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's a lifetime dream that's coming true. So
just got off your big win at the Baja 500. How sweet was that?
It was awesome. It was one of the best feelings I've ever had.
Now, let's kind of go back in your history. Let's trace Tony at a young age. You know, you got into motorcycles, your first thing?
Actually, first thing I started racing bicycles, but then I realized that it was more fun to just twist throttle than pedal. So we started racing motocross around 5 years old and started riding when I was 4.
Pretty cool. A lot of races, tracks up there in Santa Cruz?
Not too many, but you get a couple.
Hollister and a few places like that?
Yeah, you get Hollister and a couple hours away though.
All right, so parents really supporting your racing? They like what you're doing?
They're my whole support team. They're my pick. They're everything that I got. So
cool.
It's so nice to have them out there.
So now, 4 years old, 5, 6, 7, you still kind of liking what you're doing, the racing? Was it a weekly? You racing every week?
Actually, yeah, it was really, for a while there, we were racing every weekend and just go, go, go. And it was awesome. I loved every minute of it.
Now, did you eventually start traveling a little?
Yeah, we started doing local stuff, and then we moved on to doing some stuff a little bit outside of California, and so then that's when the whole ball started rolling for really racing.
Now, talking maybe GNCC?
Yeah, we raced GNCC. We did Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, and it was just awesome being able to go out back. It was me and my dad were traveling the whole time, and it was just, wish I could do it all again.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to compare it to the desert, you know, in Nevada and the desert in Mexico. I mean, back there it's so green, the trees, the water, the mud.
Yeah, it was totally different than what we get out here, and I love both sides of it. I mean, I just love riding a motorcycle. I don't care where it's at or what I'm doing, as long as I'm on a motorcycle.
Have you ever ridden anything else, maybe a quad or anything like that?
No, I mean, I've ridden quads here and there just to mess around on, but it doesn't strike an interest like a motorcycle.
Yeah, it kind of weird with the four wheels, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the four-wheeler guys, they like the four-wheeler, they don't like the bikes, but the bike guys don't like, you know, it's kind of back and forth.
Yeah.
So at a young age now, you're what, 18 now?
19.
Wow. So, and you've been racing in the Ironman class, I know both series, you know, north of the border with Best in the Desert, south of the border this first time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, when did you start thinking just do it by yourself, you know?
Really, we kind of been doing it all on ourselves the whole time we've been racing. We've done some team races at the 24-hour, and it's fun being on a team, but it's not my, I don't like relying on other people to get the bike to me. I want to be able to do it on my own, and so that's kind of, but I also love riding on a team. It's a lot of fun being able to just push as hard as you can for a short period of time instead of trying to have to pace yourself.
Because, you know, like, the trouble with teams, you're right, you hit it kind of on the head. If you have a good rider and then not so good, you know, the poor guy that's good has got to make up for the bad, you know. So.
Yeah, and that's definitely one of the parts that I like about being an Ironman is I just go out there and do it on my own and just push myself as hard as I can.
I always try to tell the guys, you know, like I'll get the Ironman guys when you guys show up on the podium, and sometimes, you know, like Vegas to Reno, and whether it's the 500 or 1,000, we talk about how tired are you? You know, would you like to have a partner? And yeah, I guess, you know, but if I was going to have a partner, I think I'd pick another Ironman. You know, here you got two guys that do it, you know, by themselves. I think you guys would make a great team.
Yeah, definitely would, and it would be a lot easier to do than doing the whole thing by yourself. But I think that's part of the challenge of going into Mexico and racing these long races is to do the Ironman class on your own.
Okay, let's go. I remember you from, you know, racing up, you know, last year, but down south, first time you show up at San Felipe. Yeah. Never been to Mexico.
No, never set foot in Mexico. We got our passports the week before, and we just went for it.
Now, everybody that I know, myself, and once you go down there, you're hooked.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I'm hooked on it. Half the time I don't want to come home.
Now, I'm sure your friends, your neighbors, and people in Santa Cruz think you're nuts to go to Mexico, and probably, is it safe? Is, you know? And
yeah, they all assume the worst, but you know, when you get down there, it's totally different than what you hear up here.
I mean, there's dangerous places in California. I mean, come on. So, you know, everywhere. I mean, and down there, it's just beautiful. People just don't realize how neat it is to go down there and hang out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I've raced all over the world, and some of the best stuff I've ever seen, some of the best scenery I've ever seen is in Mexico and racing down south.
You like tacos and all that stuff, too?
Oh, all the time.
Plenty of them there, you know. And I know, you know, talking to your girlfriend, you're going to try to get her to go down there. If you told her how much fun it was, right?
Yeah, so she's going to go down there with us next time, and hopefully she enjoys it as much as I do.
I mean, because, you know, Score's stepping it up the last couple of years, you know, Roger buying Score and Monster Energy. It never was like that before. I mean, Monster Energy parties on Thursday night, you know, and incredible the party they had at 500 at Papa's and Beer the next night, you know, and then the race day, and then after the race is over, and the VIP area where you guys finished on the podium and left, was that not incredible?
Yeah, it was so cool to see that many people out there, and they're bringing everything out, and it was just, it's amazing what they're doing for the sport.
So, okay, you've raced GNCC. We know there's a lot of crowds in the woods when you're racing. You've raced, you know, Vegas to Reno. But is it crazy racing down there where the people are everywhere? I mean,
yeah, it definitely is. It's definitely a strange sight. Never seen it, and to be coming across at 100 miles an hour and be a couple feet away from people, it's definitely something that I haven't dealt with before, and it was pretty cool seeing that.
Now, did anyone kind of teach you a little bit about what to expect in Mexico? I mean, did you know, you're this young, not a lot of experience in Mexico, knowing that booby traps and stuff like that?
Yeah, you know, I've always heard about them. I've seen videos and talked to a few people about it, but we kind of just did it as just go down there. So we didn't really plan, didn't expect for it. I just kind of figured whatever's going to happen is going to happen, and I'll try to ride it out.
Because I know if you're riding 100 miles an hour in the desert, let's just give you a scenario. and you see a group of people sitting out in the middle of nowhere with all their little lawn chairs and stuff, and would you think maybe there's something there? Or?
I don't know. I'd go both ways. I might think something's there, but I wouldn't slow down. I'd just keep going and deal with it when I could see it.
Now, did you enjoy, I mean, a lot of where you guys started, you know, you've never ridden down there, so you don't know that, you know, normally they start and go towards the east over to San Felipe and then finish over on the Pacific. This time you got to go over to the Pacific and ride on the coast. It's a beautiful ride right there.
Yeah, it was definitely so cool to ride that close to the beach. The weather on the coast was just awesome. I've never gotten to ride that close to a beach, so it was super cool to see that. So.
Any problems at the 500? I mean, you know?
We got a dirty air filter and couldn't run the bike more than a quarter throttle, but that only lasted for about 50 miles, and then we were back going as fast as we could again.
Now, who chased you? Your mom and dad, or?
Actually, my mom and dad did the majority of the chase, but we did hire Baja pits, so.
Yeah, Carlos is an incredible guy.
Yeah, he is. His pit guys are awesome. They helped me out the whole way. If I needed anything, food, anything, they were right there.
Yeah, we bring them on the show at every race and then try to let people know about them, because, you know, those are the kind of guys that help. You can't have all those pits, you know?
Yeah, definitely. There's no way, especially on how we're trying to do it, and with us just wanting to do it with my mom and my dad and my little brother. It was awesome to have Carlos out there to help, and just, I mean, I would definitely recommend Baja pits to anybody that was looking for pit support.
Now, during the 500, I mean, you did San Felipe. San Felipe, pretty easy for you?
Yeah, San Felipe was pretty easy. We ran out of gas, and I pushed the bike for 2 miles just after the dry lake bed. So that was that took quite a bit of time out, but we got back in the race, and we finished decent.
And then that set you up for the 500, you know? 'Cause
yeah.
Now, the 500, did you pre-run a lot, or?
Actually, for the 500, we were supposed to pre-run, but our pre-runner truck broke, and so we ended up using a backup bike, and I only pre-ran an 80-mile section. So, and the part that I pre-ran was next to the coast, so there wasn't too much out there to.
Yeah.
It was all pretty good roads. So.
Yeah, yeah. Did you, at any point, you know, as you're riding around, going through Mike Sky Ranch or Valley of Tea or any of those areas, think, man, I wish somebody else could get on this bike? You didn't, you know?
No, you know what? I think about it sometimes, but every time I start to think about it, I think about, well, I don't want anybody else on the bike, because that means that they don't get to, or I don't get to see all of the stuff I get to see out there. So.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But did you meet a lot of new people? I mean, you know, when you come down to the 500, like these guys have been racing for years, you know, guys like Jim O'Neill, and you know, did you get a chance to meet these guys?
Oh yeah, definitely. We've had more help than we've ever had coming down there, and just that's part of what I love about going down to Baja. Just everybody's there to help. So it was really cool meeting some people, meeting Jim and talking to him. It was just awesome to see people that have came up in this sport.
Because you're doing this out of your pocket. You know, you guys have a motorcycle shop, I heard.
Yeah, actually, we have a knobby shop in Santa Cruz. We kind of we build motors and tinker on stuff here and there. So it's pretty cool, but it's hard.
Yeah. So we need to give a little shout out to the fans. You know, people watching, to help this young man out. You know, 19 years old and doing this on his own, out of his pocket, his parents, and got all the credit cards going and the shop and everything. And I know we got to give a shout out to Jim O'Neill and hook this guy up with some clothes. And definitely, let's move on to what the big outlook is right here behind us. If, you know, people are watching, this is the big daddy right here to you, right?
Oh yeah, it definitely is. It's a lifelong dream. I never thought it would come true, just because it's so big, it's so huge. And just to finally get it to come true and be part of it is just amazing.
You know, I mean, you look up here, the sand dunes, and we were kind of talking off camera. Little practice at over there at Pismo Beach or something? Or?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to practice somewhere in the sand.
Yeah, but looks like a lot of fun, huh?
Oh yeah, it looks awesome. I mean, we just got to try to get there. We got a fundraiser set up on GoFundMe and trying to get a little bit of help to offset the costs, because it's huge, but I think we can do it.
I mean, what do you think about, you know, like SCORE trying to bring it in and helping people out?
It's just amazing that they would even consider bringing it in and trying to help the sport and get everybody knowing that it's not just about SCORE. There's also other races out there that you should try.
you know, it's neat because we're trying to get some of the guys from Dakar to race also at the score races. So we had that big truck.
Yeah, I saw that. That was awesome.
And they had no problems with the truck. It was one of the drivers, one of the guys in the truck had some, you know, had just had surgery, and they had to pull out at the race. But so you look on the bikes. I mean, you look at some of the faces of some of these guys. I think that might be Johnny Campbell up top.
Yeah.
And incredible. You've watched the races themselves, right?
Yeah, watched it from time to time, and just ever since I found out I was going, I've been nonstop on YouTube and watching everything else,
Really?
and just trying to watch what it's all about. But
Are you having any luck raising some money?
yeah, we are. We're getting there. So I mean, all my family, friends, everyone's helping out. So anything helps.
Now we got, so like it'll be January 5th through the 18th, 14 days of racing. Is that incredible?
Yeah, it is. I can't wait to do it. It sounds like so much fun. I'd love to spend every minute on a motorcycle, and to be able to spend 14 days riding one is just a dream come true.
Now what we got to do is get you hooked up with the navigation. That's the killer part, navigation.
Yeah, definitely. Going from never reading a map to trying to do this is definitely going to be a hard one. I mean, we're definitely spoiled out here looking at arrows all day.
I got a good guy for you. Kellen Walsh will help you out. He definitely knows how to do it. Because you can't use GPS. It's not, you know, not in the rules. So these guys, the night before, got to study your maps and try to, I mean, I've heard them, you know, sometimes they can Google map, you know, what you're doing, but definitely during the race you can't use that. And you have to make those points. And if you miss those points, you get, you know, penalized and stuff. You know, Kurt talked a lot about that. I know you talked to me, you had a chance to meet Kurt.
Yeah, he was just amazing. It was just, to see someone that big and be that humble in the sport and try to help all the kids, it was just so cool to be able to meet him.
Great, you know, it's just a terrible loss, and you know, for all of us. And I'm trying to play a little more of him every show, you know, like try to showcase Kurt, you know, just such a inspirational guy. And like you said, to the young kids, and whether they were young, old, even the older guys, he still would talk to them and, you know, talk and help them out and stuff. But that's great. I mean, I know Mike Johnson in the cars, and it'll be you in the bikes, and you got a couple more races to finish the Imperial. Go back out there again for the 2-day race.
Yeah, we're going to do that one. We're going to finish off both series. We're going to keep running the Best in the Desert series and the Score series. Hopefully going to get the #1 plate in both of them for the Ironman, and just going to keep going.
I'd have to look at the record. We'll get Dominic to check it out, but I'm not positive if anyone has ever won the Ironman in both series, you know?
Yeah, I'm really hoping to bring it. I got the #1 plate in Best in the Desert right now for the Ironman, and I'm really hoping to bring it home again and bring the Score home to Northern California.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
You know? I know they, the finishing pins Score gives out are pretty neat for you guys in the Ironman class. I mean, it doesn't say just finisher. It has Ironman finisher.
Yeah, that's definitely really cool that we're one of the classes that are recognized enough to get something like that. It's just,
you know, because you know, you're out there by yourself. You know, you're doing the whole thing, and it takes a lot. You know.
Yeah, it does, and it definitely gets real tiring sometimes. But it's got to push through.
You know, you got 5 guys riding in a 500, and you're you're doing the whole thing yourself. So hard to break it up. So any other after Dakar? Have you thought about any other kind of racing at all?
No, you know, we're kind of just looking at every option right now. I really liking the desert stuff. It's the most fun I've had out of all the years of racing. So I think we're going to try to stay in the desert and just keep doing what we're doing.
Now you just graduated from high school?
Actually, yeah, I graduated 2 years ago.
Okay, and then now you're working at the shop, I guess?
Yeah, we're working at the shop and building motors and I'm looking at going to school and going to like a tech school and learning some diesel stuff. So
yeah, that's neat. You know, you can really learn a lot of stuff and take it on somewhere else. You know,
definitely
make your shop bigger, and you know, so. But you like Santa Cruz? Pretty fun.
Yeah, it's always great there. Weather's always good. Wish there was a little bit more riding, but I'd rather sit next to the beach and hang out all day.
We talked off camera. You don't surf much anymore?
No, not anymore. But we got to get. My dad's starting to make me work out more and more, so he's making me paddle quite a bit. So might start getting back into it.
Yeah, I do like the young man in the movie, you know, Chasing Mavericks. Did you see that?
Actually, no, I didn't. I want to go see it.
You need to see it. It's all about Santa Cruz and this young man. It's pretty cool the way they made him paddle to train. So So but it's been a pleasure to have you on, man. Nice to have you come down from Santa Cruz and join us here on Dirt Live, and we'll see you in September at the race in Imperial Valley.
Yeah,
hopefully,
definitely.
Hopefully it won't be windy and dusty like the last one.
Yeah, but if it is, we'll deal with it then.
It'll be hot, so get ready for the heat.
That's all right.
All right, right here, Tony joining us. Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Tony Gira right now, the Car Challenge, the Car Challenge guy right now, currently leading in the points, leading in the Ironman class, hoping to take the #1 trophy home for 2014 and score. And you heard about the other series up north of the border. So we're going to go to commercial. We'll be right back here on Dirt Live.
Welcome to a beautiful day in Baja, California as we get set for the Tecate Score Baja 500.
Car set.
This has to be probably the toughest Baja 500 that I've ever done. The biggest thing you have to do is not make a mistake. So patience is key for this event.
We talk about silt. I like to call it the whiteout because you just can't see when the dust is all around you.
The course is tougher than last year. This is one of the toughest Baja 500s we're going to have. Every time I come back, it just brings out a new story, every single race, and the excitement for all the fans down here. Beautiful country that we get to drive on and race through. It's unbelievable.
Just when you think that you can relax, you can't. When you're traveling at 140 miles an hour, you can have any type of mechanical problem. And the rocks, if you take them too easy, you'll get beat. So you have to be aggressive, and you have to worry about everything in front of you on this course. So very demanding.
Welcome back to Dirt Live. We're here with Larry Dixon, 3-time NHRA world champion, man. Welcome to the show, hanging out here with you next door. It's incredible at the licensing show here, a way for guys like you and off-road guys to, you know, raise money and help you guys racing, you know?
Yeah, it's all about brand awareness. You know, at a licensing show, obviously, you know, everybody's trying to sell their goods, and, you know, having this motorsports cafe set up like they do, you know, showing people that might not see, you know, what a truck is, you know, up close, and the same thing with a top fuel car. So it's really try to get one-on-one with the different companies.
You know, let's go back a few years. You know, we talked off camera. We're talking back, bring some old memories to me. I mean, Palmdale racing when you first started, right?
Yeah, I did high school brackets, you know, when I was living in Southern California, and really, you know, on my own driving, that's how it kind of started, and then moved up to alcohol cars and then into top fuel cars. But, you know, I really got my start from my dad. My dad raced, you know, top fuel cars back in the 60s and 70s. Went to all the old racetracks in Southern California, the Lions, Drag Strip, Irwindale, Orange County, and all that, and that's really where I found the love of, it's probably why I drag race and not off-road race.
Pretty cool. I know I've grown up in California in Lyons and Long Beach. It was pretty cool. And even San Fernando Valley Raceway, I remember that.
Yeah, my old man, my grandmother gave me a whole box of his trophy. I mean, it looked like he won every week. I mean, I got 100 trophies, from him running at San Fernando. So it's, yeah, I'm born into it. I tell people I'm a product of my environment,
So pretty much what you've done your whole life.
Oh yeah, it's, as a little kid, I just want to grow up and be like my dad.
Now when you out at Palmdale and then eventually, when did you start realizing, hey, I think I'm pretty good at this,
Well, I think on the driving side of things, I've always had the goal of top fuel cars. And, you'd make runs down the track and I started out in a 55 Chevy and you're running, 13 seconds in the quarter mile. I always wanted to do top fuel and knew I couldn't go to my parents to buy me a top fuel car and didn't really understand the whole sponsorship and all that at that point. So I went crewing. That's where I got hooked up with Larry Minor, which, that name's, strong in off-road. And that's really where I got my taste of, the off-road racing as well, too. But if I couldn't drive it, I could at least work on them. So I spent the next probably 10 years of my life crewing on top fuel cars and funny cars.
Wow. Now, you drove the top fuel for a while? I mean, the other one's not, as you graduated up to top fuel.
I went from street cars and then, probably maybe a 7-8 year break and then got into an alcohol dragster because there's other guys that were moving up and then going into the top fuel class and I'm like, man, I'm never going to get a shot. Yeah. So it's like I literally had a good job going at Don Perdome's and I quit there to go drive an alcohol car and spent a season doing that, just knowing that, and learning the, driving an open wheel car, at speed, and it wasn't nowhere near a 300 mile an hour top fuel car, but you'd run 6 seconds in the quarter mile, 220 mile an hour. But at least people know that you could at least get it from point A to point B without hitting anything and not doing anything dumb. So that's that was really where, like Don Perdome, took interest in my aspirations on driving a top fuel car.
Now, did you win a lot of races in those, the 6-second bracket?
I went to a dozen races in one season in the alcohol car and won one round of racing. But wow. I mean, it lets you know. I mean, it's not just the driver, it's not just the equipment, it's the whole combination. And I think in any sport, whether it's stick and ball or racing, everybody's got to be on their game to be able to win. So, but I guess after that point, I knew I could do it.
Now, what was your first big break? I mean, somebody came along and decided, hey, let's try this young man out.
Well, it was when I went back to work for Don Perdome, and he wanted to, the crew chief at the time wanted to go testing. Perdome had sponsor commitments. They're trying to find somebody to drive the car. And then it was literally an argument between Perdome and the crew chief, and like at the shop, I'm over there washing, parts, putting a motor together, and it's like, why don't you get that kid his license, and then you guys can test anytime you want. And I'm listening to this, washing parts going,
oh, man, come on, man, get me going.
So that's really what happened. Maybe a month or so after that, went and tested in his car and got my license, and actually ran quicker than Perdome in my licensing. So that, that was exciting, and really that helped elevate, my name, as being, consideration of driving. And so, the following season, when Perdome retired, he put me in the car, after we got the Miller Brewing, Miller Lite. We had Miller Lite, Miller Genuine Draft for 12 years. So that was really the start of it.
I just remember, meeting you years ago in Vegas and other things. You just were so dominant in that class. I mean, for those few years, you were it. You were the man.
Yeah, it's a package deal. You can be the best driver in the world, but you gotta have a horse, man. You gotta be riding Secretariat, and so I've been really fortunate. I've been around a lot of really good teams and a lot of good crew chiefs. Made sure you have the right funding. Like with the Alan Johnson team, won a bunch of races with. Yeah. Same thing with the Perdome team. So it's just you got to surround yourself, with great people if you want to achieve great things.
Now, any bad crashes? I know in those cars.
I got a few spills. I mean, nothing to fill a Crusty video or anything, but we could. But I'm here talking to you, so it wasn't that bad. Is how I look at it. One of them, I spent the night in the hospital, had a broken leg, but I flew up to Indianapolis. They put a pin in my leg, and I was racing the next week. So it I don't consider it that bad. But, you know, the safety of those cars, you know, it always constantly evolves. And it's like I've got a cockpit of my 1995 car at home, and you look at the difference from a safety standpoint of how the cars are constructed from 95 to how it is in, you know, the rule package today in 2014. Big difference. And, you know, but it's constant involvement. Yeah, in every sanctioning body, it's the same way, though.
You know, people watching out there, mostly watching, you know, we've got Larry from NHRA Racing, a little different, but I mean, got to be the fastest guy in the world. I mean, to go, what, 3 seconds?
Yeah, go 330 miles an hour in, you know, 3.5 seconds. So
yeah, that's you know, incredible.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's exciting. You know, and for me, you know, the competition side of it is great. You get, you know, you take a team of guys, you know, or girls for that. You know, I mean, you got girls on pit crew and girl drivers too. But you take a group together, and everybody's got to try and do their job better than the other team in the other lane, and that competition for that is, you know, what drives me every round, every week.
That's pretty incredible because, you know, it's like when you watch it, it's the clutch right, it's the motor right, you know, everything just has to fall together, right, to get that 3 seconds down the other end without blowing up.
Absolutely. And then, I mean, even like you got the crew chiefs and the different teams, they're walking the racetrack and they're checking the grip of the track, because then it, you know, once a whole car is put together and it needs to be put together perfect, you know, the crew chief has to make the final call on what he thinks he can get away with running quick and fast down the racetrack. So it's a lot of work. You know, it only takes 3 seconds to do it, but man, it takes a lot of input. A lot of things have to go right to make it right.
Yeah, because each run you guys ran, if you haven't been out there, you rebuild the motor. I mean, it's incredible.
Every run, it goes right down to the bare block and crank. They put a fresh clutch in it, you know, new, you know, fresh rods and pistons, you know, fresh cylinder heads, all that stuff. Not that you toss all that stuff out, but when the engine's making 10,000 horsepower, it you know, it loads the equipment. So when you go up there for every run, you want to make sure everything's perfect. So then the guys will go back and check all the parts at a later time, and then, you know, kind of phase in and out, you know, what's good and what's bad.
How's the season going this year for you?
It's going all right. I'm with the Bob Vandergrift team this year, running about half the races, so it's decent. I've run a couple events. It gets busy towards the end of the year, you know, where we'll be able to hit, you know, I run Indianapolis, which I'm really excited about. Vegas, you know, we finish off Pomona at the end of the year.
Any wins yet, or is it pretty tough right
now? You know, the car that I'm in, it's a good car. You know, we qualified in the top half of the field. You know, you kind of, you know, it's a new team, so we haven't got those wins yet, but we're knocking on the door.
You know, we talked off camera. It's pretty cool. You know, you've lost a few friends over the years, you know, in terrible accidents, you know, in your class, but everything now is a lot of safety, and you were talking about, explain I mean, it's incredible what they've built into these race cars now.
Oh, and not just the cars, but the racetracks themselves. You know, when I started, you know, you had guardrails. You know, now you have concrete walls, and they're high walls now, and so things like that help you. The specs on the helmets. We were Hans devices now. You know, the head and neck restraints and all that stuff's mandated. You know, your you know, a driving suit, or you call it a fire suit because it protects you from fire as well. Just all those things have evolved over the 20 years that I've been doing it. Same thing with the cars. We have transponders on the cars now too, and it's like if you're incapacitated and you can't, you know, physically shut the car off yourself, you know, like you go by a certain point of the racetrack, it'll shut the ignition off, the fuel off, and pop the parachutes for you, just to make sure that, you know, and it's, you know, the incidents, you hate to have them happen, but they didn't, you know, people didn't lose their lives in vain. You know, there's things to be learned out that are going to save the next generation of racers.
That's a good point. Well, what do you think of this truck behind us? You kind of, would you like to drive one, right?
These things are awesome. I tell you, we got talking a little bit. That first racing job I had, crew, was for Larry Miner, and they run the Class 8 trucks back then. And that truck, it was more like a Chevy Silverado. I mean, this thing, it says
incredible.
Monster on it.
Right.
It's almost a monster truck. It's huge, you know, but these things look bitchin', and running the videos in the background and stuff, it's exciting. I'd love to do it, you know, a one-off thing. You know, Baja has always excited me. The years that I worked for Larry Miner, we'd go down there and you'd either work a pit or run a chase vehicle and do some of that stuff for the 500 and the 1000. But I definitely dig these things.
Yeah, we're giving a little shout out, people watching. You know, we got a lot of off-road people get a hold of Larry, and definitely wants to drive. Hey, whatever, 1,000,
You never
500.
know, right?
You know, this could be another thing. You know,
it could turn into my thing.
Yeah, it'd be crazy, you know, but definitely. And then, you know, you've got a bunch of these, but in a different way, you know, 3 world championships. And what do you think of this trophy, you know?
You know, knowing what guys, you know, at the end of the day, the money that you win for it all gets spent and all that, but the hardware when you're done, you know, the championship ring, or you know, taking one of these things home that, you know, the same thing that Parnelli Jones and Larry Minor had fought for these things, and it's awesome, you know. It looked good next to some of them NHRA trophies I got.
You look good, man. But you know, like I said, 3 seconds for you guys, and then these guys are racing 20 hours. You know, it's incredible.
I know. It's you know, it's definitely different. And like I said, there was things that I learned, because you do all your preparation at the shop with the trucks, and then when you get there and it's like a big break, you're done, right? Well, you know, in drag racing, it's almost the opposite. You almost do all your prepping at the racetrack, and you're tearing it down every run. And, you know, I mean, cool. it's different, but it's the same thing. You know, everybody's trying to go home with the hardware.
Exactly. Well, thank you very much for joining us here on
this
Dirt
is great.
Live.
No, I appreciate
Larry
it. Thank
Dixon
you,
right
guys.
here, 3-time world champion in NHRA. Incredible guy that back I remember as I grow up, and everybody watching out there. Miller Lite, the guy, and man, you kicked a lot of butt, I know, out there.
And I'm not done yet.
No, you still want to kick some more butt.
There you go.
But definitely, maybe you can do it in off-road racing and get a hold of Larry, and he'd be glad to jump in your trophy truck, whatever car, and get down in Baja and have some fun. So we're going to go to commercial and be right back on Dirt Live.
Welcome to a beautiful day in Baja, California, as we get set for the Tecate Score Baja 500.
Car stop.
This has to be probably the toughest Baja 500 that I've ever done. The biggest thing you have to do is not make a mistake. So patience is key for this event.
We talk about silt. I like to call it the whiteout because you just can't see when the dust is all around you.
The course is tougher than last year. This is one of the toughest Baja 500s we're going to have. Every time I come back, it just brings out a new story, every single race, and the excitement for all the fans down here. Beautiful country that we get to drive on and race through. It's unbelievable.
Just when you think that you can relax, you can't. When you're traveling at 140 miles an hour, you can have any type of mechanical problem. And the rocks, if you take them too easy, you'll get beat. So you have to be aggressive, and you have to worry about everything in front of you on this course. So very demanding.
Welcome back to Dirt Live. What can I say? As usual, out of time, great show, great guest, and we appreciate you fans out there. We want to make this show bigger and bigger and better. A lot of ideas coming up in August. We're going to try to do this thing called Dirt Live Cribs. We're going to go out and visit some of the race shops and see who has the best race shop out there. Any other ideas you guys have to make Dirt Live a little different or bring some ideas to us, new blood? Like I said, email me, george@dirtlive.com. Any other questions you have? Any guys want to come on the show? We've been getting a lot of emails lately of guys that like to come on the show. A couple weeks ago, we had gentleman Kevin Sanchez from Ensenada. So if you'd like to come on Dirt Live and talk about what you guys are doing, hey, we'd more than love to have you. Well, we're out of time. We'll see you guys next week, 7 o'clock, right here on Dirt Live. Adios, amigos and amigas. We'll see you next week.